They got Willa. They got my daughter. I need to find her.
From acclaimed director Paul Thomas Anderson.
You can save that girl.
Today, experience what is being called the best movie of the year.
This is the end of the line. Not for you.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Tiana Taylor, Chase Infinity.
Let's go!
One battle after another. Now playing only in theaters. Experience it in IMAX. Rated R. Under 17 animated without parent.
You can't hide.
Finish training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to the Super Rugby Cymru podcast.
Hello and welcome to the SRC podcast. Joining me, your host Big M, to take a look at Llandovery's chances for the season is their head coach, Ross Evans. Thanks for joining me. How are you?
Good, thanks.
So we'll start off with your coaching team. Who's in charge of the Rovers this season?
Pretty much the same group as last year. Obviously, Tom Hancock's moved up to the Dragon, so we've lost him, and there'll be big shoes to fill. But we've promoted Nick Cudd from within. Nick's ready for that next challenge now, so we take ownership of our defence. And we brought in a young coach, Leon Randall, who sort of finished playing a bit earlier than you would have wanted. But Leon's a coach with lots of potential, and hopefully he'll fit into the way we want to play the game, and he'll get his cut his cloth really in terms of how he's looking to develop as a coach.
So if we take a look at your squad, a lot of players have obviously stayed on from last season. 2 years in a row now, champions of Wales. So who are the mainstays in your squad? Who are the key men for you?
Lee Rees will captain the team this year, and Lee's been one of the best Premiership players for a few years now. Exceptional talent. Probably moved to 9 a little bit, maybe too late in his career. He started as a back three-er. I'm sure if he'd have played 9 a little bit earlier, then he's sure he'd have played some or more professional rugby. So he's there. Johan Hughes at 10 has been a great signing for us since he joined us from Coach of Llandovery Rfc, and he's really fitted in well with us, and understands how we want to play the game, and he's been excellent for us. And then we got some quality up front as well. Joe Powell is a player who's been around the block a few times now with us, and exceptional talent at the Premiership level. And we got a back rower, Roshan Davis, boy from Castell with Emlyn, and he's been excellent for us for a couple of years now. And the Scarlets have had a look at him, and he played last year, I think, in one of the friendlies. So he's definitely on their radar as well. So we've got some players coming were our core. And then we got young players like, the academy boys who fitted in this last year, like Harry Thomas, etc., who fitted in and blended well and added to us as the season progressed last year. So it's getting that balance right between the sort of experienced players, if you like, and making sure we've got an environment where young players can develop and grow.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of Harry Thomas. I'm glad you mentioned him. He's a great player. I love watching him whenever I can. A few boys that have joined your squad from the rather exceptional Scarlets under 18s is Tian Sparrow and Will Evans. Now, those are two boys I know that have been earmarked by a few people. How have they integrated with yourselves?
Yeah, Tian's been very ill. So he's only just started back training, and that's very low intensity at the moment. So Tia's probably not going to be ready until January, really. So, he was extremely ill. So, we're delighted he's back training. So we have to be a little bit patient with Tia. But there's no doubt that he's going to be a tremendous player of the future. And he was exceptional last year for the Scarlets 18s. Will's ready to go. Will's making a debut on Thursday night for us. He's a big old goose, an old-fashioned second row, if you like. He carries hard, it trucks hard, really abrasive, and we're really looking forward to see how he goes this year.
Yeah, I was very impressed by Will in the under-18 Six Nations. Well, it weren't Six Nations; they were 8 of them, but it was that. I think it was back end of March, and he was very much a standout player in there. So it'll be great to see how he progresses now. So we're happy that Ian's obviously on the mend and he's in some form of training, which is absolutely brilliant for the lad. So let's talk about how your squad is doing so far. Like in terms of training, like have you had conditioning blocks or have you sort of blended everything in together?
We've done a little bit different this year. So we haven't done as much running or out and out running as maybe we've done in the past. We've looked to high intensity games and lots of that within our sessions. Boys came back in decent nick. We the classic Bronco test at the start of the sessions, and the data was quite positive. So we were quite happy where we were starting from. So it just getting our blend together now, the new players in, and making sure they're up to speed in terms of understanding how we want to play the game, and excited now that the season's about to start, and hopefully we're in a position where we can compete again.
So games are now starting to come in thick and fast in terms of pre-season. So what are the big work-ons for you? As obviously, like I already said, double champions of the last 2 years. So what work-ons are there for the Drovers to focus on?
There's always plenty to work on, and we're always striving to be a better version of ourselves. We know there'll be massive competition in the league this year, and Newport have recruited really strongly. So we know we'll have to be better again next year if we're going to be competing with them. But our challenge is to be as consistent as last year. We're massive in terms of speed of ball, the high ball in play. Trying to challenge defences from all areas. Making sure we've got a strong set piece, making sure our driving line is functional, making sure we're able to produce a quality ball that our exciting backline are able to do their thing with. So there's lots of little details within our game that we try to get right, and when we get it right, we're a very difficult team to beat.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, your titles back you up. I mean, with the additional titles that the WRU bestowed upon you now, I think that makes 4 trophies last season. So that must be make you incredibly proud. You've spoken about some of the academy players you've got, and a couple of boys did end up turning out to Scarlets in some pre-season, not pre-seasons, in some friendlies during the year. So how is that relationship working with yourselves? Is a simple, you get your boys for the season, or is it going to be dropping in, dropping out as and when sort of thing?
Yeah, a bit of a mix of everything, really. I think we get allocated a lot of the successful under-18s players who have departed there, get split between ourselves and the Quins, and then we track their progress. The ones who are ready to go with us obviously are included. If not, they'll go to some our partner clubs, and then they'll cut their teeth there. Then you've got young junior academy players who are ready to go, and we've got boys like Tom Phillips and maybe Will Evans, and players of that kind of level who will play some Premiership rugby with us this year. And then obviously you've got boys like Harry and Max and Jack Davis and Kian Abraham who are probably closer to the senior team, and then they'll drop in and out when they're not required from a senior perspective. And we'd expect to see a little bit of Harry, because I think they've got a few hookers in front of him at the moment, but he's in the 20s next year again. So I think probably a good thing that he's going to get plenty of rugby this year again with us, and then in a year's time, then hopefully he can break through into the senior squad proper then.
So if we focus now on to this season, it's a slightly different structure. A lot focus has been put on the word development. So has there been any challenges when it comes to that in terms of who you've been able to retain? Have you got to be more mindful then of who your squad is made up of?
A little, but obviously, it's tough going at the moment from a professional perspective. The senior squad's nowhere near the level it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So, the number of players who actually drop down isn't that big. So then, the younger players that we're expected to service, there'll be plenty of opportunity for them as a result of that. It can be quite tough sometimes. Like last year, once or twice, Tommy Lewis dropped down for us, and we had Jack Davis, and then trying to get everybody enough game time is a little bit challenging, but that very rarely happens over this period of the season. I think everybody gets the amount of game time they require. So, we're conscious that our role is to develop players, and hopefully we can develop the academy players. But we're also trying to give a route for those players who maybe aren't identified younger, the late developers, if you like, and we give them an opportunity to progress. And we've got a couple of them, Lou said, Jamie Hughes and Oshan Davis, both of them had opportunity last year with the Scarlets, and that's, we're delighted to support them in any way we can as well.
Okay, so 2 years ago, Premiership champions. This past season, league leaders and champions. Are we going to see very much the same from the Drovers this year? Is anything less than champions going to be a disappointment for you guys?
We set high standards, and we'd like to think we're going to be competitive again. But it's a long old season. Within that, sometimes you need a bit of luck with injuries, etc. But the way it's set up this year, that every team who starts the campaign is going to get the playoffs. So in essence, it's if you finish in the top two, then you're guaranteed a home semi. But other than that, 10 could win the league. So it's making sure you manage the season well enough, so when it comes to the business end, you're fit and ready to go as well. So that's going to be a little bit different. But no, we hope to be competitive. We hope to be in the mix, and hopefully we can maintain our high standards.
Very humble is how I'm taking that from you guys. I can't see anything other than you at the top of the table, to be honest. Obviously, Newport and Cardiff, both very strong teams, but the safe money's got to be with you guys, and that is something that you personally have developed over your entire career. Basically, a lot of your time has been with Sir God developing from babies essentially. So you must be immensely proud of almost anyone that walks through, even in the Scarlets. You've had some form of involvement with them.
Oh, definitely. The day job, if you like, I'm very fortunate to work with some, really talented young players, and some have gone on to be British Lions, and we've got lots of boys in that Scarlet setup, and then we've got lots playing semi-pro as well. I think we've got a really good environment at the college. It's proven in terms of the number of players it produces. It's that environment that strives to be the best in Britain in many ways, and there's not many colleges who've produced more senior internationals than ourselves. So from that perspective, it works. And obviously the Drovers, and I think the Quins as well, benefit from what we do, because we get players ready to play at that higher level a little bit quicker because of the environment that we've got there and the support we give these young players.
Well, it sounds absolutely amazing to beat the Drovers, and you're probably going to have another amazing season. I know you are. So that was the easy stuff. Now there's some hard-hitting questions that I need to ask you. But if anyone comes to the Drovers up to Church Bank, how much is it going to cost them for a pint in the clubhouse?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I couldn't tell you. I can tell you a can of Pepsi Max will cost you £1.20. I can tell you that much. But beer-wise, I couldn't tell you how much they cost up there, to be honest with you.
Well, a can of Pepsi you'll have to do on this occasion. Let's see, what else have we got? Who's the longest was?
Oh, another question. On my playing days, I could probably answer to you, but don't go near the show as much anymore. I'm going to be honest. Joe Powell's always last out, so he must have something to say.
Right, and something easy. Who is the club man of Llandovery? Who is the first one there and the last one out?
There's lots of people behind the scenes who, the journey the club's been on is remarkable, really, from what it was a small West Wales club to finish last year at the top of the tree. And there's a few people there. It's hard to sort of highlight individuals, but Hamdel Davis is Mr. Llandovery. There's a guy his partner in crime, Phil the Beast, who've been together for generations, really. Our chairman now, Peter Rees, works his socks off in driving the club forward. We're delighted to be included in the SRC and all those little boxes that need to be ticked to keep the club, where it needs to be, really. And the club's very ambitious. The club wants to maintain at the top, the top of the tree, and those three individuals in particular are probably the key deciding factors in allowing us to be there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you all the luck and all well for the rest of for all the season. And I look forward to speaking to you again. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Cheers.
That was the Super Rugby Cymru podcast. Please rate, review and share us on socials if you can, and join us again next week for more of the same. And until then, enjoy your rugby.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.